Hey everyone, Spencer Reese here from militarymoneymanual.com. Today on the podcast, we have Lacey Langford. She's an Air Force veteran and an accredited financial counselor who writes at Milmo, that's milmo.co. And she's got over 15 years of financial experience, and she understands firsthand the unique challenges military families face, both as an active duty, then a veteran and a military spouse herself. She's founded the Milmo community, which is dedicated to empowering U.S. service members with financial literacy and entrepreneurial guidance, hosts the Milmo Show podcast, and created MilMoneyCon, the Military Money Conference, the first national conference uniting financial professionals with military ties. And that's an excellent conference if you're interested in anything military, money planning, financial advising, anything in that space. She's passionate about making a positive difference in the military community, one member at a time. We've wanted to have her on the show for a long time, and we're excited to welcome Lacey Langford to the Military Money Manual podcast. Lacey, thanks so much for joining us on the show today.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited about this.
So I wanted to start with your connection to the military community. How did you come to find yourself so connected to the military community?
Well, I grew up military. I'm actually the fourth generation to serve in my family. I was the first of the fourth generation. I like to point that out to my siblings that they followed me into the Air Force. My dad was a military police officer in the Army, and I enlisted in the Air Force. I served 4 years. I was an admin. And two of my three siblings serve. I met my husband on active duty. So I come from a very large military family. So it's kind of a family business. That's what led me down the path.
So you were able to take that military experience as a veteran yourself, a lot of military in your family, and identify a need that the military community has in their personal finance world. And you created a conference. Can you tell us a little bit about that and why you started MilMoneyCon?
Yes. So I knew when I was on active duty, I wanted to go into finance in some way. I was very blessed growing up. I was taught to spend less money than I make and save. I definitely did not listen to that. When I was young and enlisted, I probably did most of the opposite of everything I was advised. But I kind of wanted to learn how to take to the next level, learn about investing and building wealth. And I started down that path. I became a military spouse, though, right away because I was a non-traditional student after I graduated. And I really struggled with building my financial career around my husband's infantry career. And that really drove me into a lot of volunteer work, starting my own business that was PCS proof that I could take with me. But when I got out, I didn't have a lot of mentorship. It took me a very long time to build my career in finance. And I saw the need once I had established myself that other people in finance around the military space were struggling with these same things, finding a mentor, finding a way to make money at this. Because if you don't make money as a financial professional, you're not going to stay in the business. So, that's volunteer work. That's not a career or earning an income in your own business. And so I also started to see that there are a lot of wonderful people out there doing wonderful things, like maybe starting an app to help the military community with money. And I get to meet a lot of great people with my podcast and just the consulting, everything, the work that I do. And I started to see that people are replicating work to say like, oh, well, I'm starting this app because nobody's doing it. I'm like, well, actually, there's like 10 other people. You guys just don't know about each other. And it would be really great if you did, because I think that actually might slingshot you. And then also people will come to me and say, this needs to be done because the Department of Defense isn't doing anything to help with this. I'm like, actually, they are. You just weren't aware of it. And so that's kind of a long way of saying, as I started to see all of these reasons why we should all come together in the community. And so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to give this a go. I'm going to try to bring the community together and have an event where we can help each other build our careers, continue our education, find earning opportunities, whether that's, in a career that's traditional, or I often say preschool hours. Sometimes, military spouses can only work 3 days a week, 3 hours, but connecting with companies that want to help hire and work with our community. And that's really where it started for MilMoneyCon, was me seeing what I felt was a need and a benefit that could come out of us all coming together.
Yeah, someone that's gone. I love the conference. It's great, and fully support and advocate that people should go. You have many hats you wear because you do financial coaching, you do business coaching, you have a conference, you have all, and you do helping people with their entrepreneurial journey. What's it like to start a conference? Like, I'm so curious of how you even did that. You pick venues, you find sponsors, you do the room book, and
yeah, it is a lot. I think just like starting my coaching business, if somebody had told me how much work it was, I probably wouldn't have started it. Just it being revealed with each step, maybe like, okay, well, let me go to the next step. There's definitely a learning curve. Just like starting a coaching business, I had no experience in events, and there's a lot of nuances to that. I'm still learning. I say that all the time is please explain it because I want to learn and grow in this. But it was a lot like starting a coaching business. Like, all right, well, I got to figure it out. Like, I've got to, have something, content, and what am I going to do, the schedule, and then how am I going to get people here? That's just like getting paying clients and finding people that want to support that and then letting people know about it. I don't think I'm the best at marketing, but I'm trying to improve that. But I also am a big proponent of the mentorship. And so when I knew that I wanted to start a conference, I had tried to do an event for service members, I think in 2018. So I had a little test run on what that was like and worked out some things that I would do different. But then one key component was getting more mentorship on starting a conference or starting an event. And so that's what I did was I went to some people and was like, hey, I'm going to give this a go. What are, the 5 things I should do first and focus on? Because that was also a lesson I learned in starting business is like, there's so many things to focus on. If you're trying to take that all in, it's like drinking through a fire hose. But if you have 5 targets, like, okay, that's more manageable. So I can knock these 5 out. And I thought to the military community, if I do this whole thing and I only have pizza and some beer and some soda, like we're all still going to have a good time and really connect and network and stuff like that. So that's where I kept falling back. Like it's a good community and people are still going to talk and get to know each other. That because that's the military. It's like if you wait around to try to talk to somebody and make friends, it's going to pass you by. So you got to make the most of that moment.
And so the venue for military or MilMoneyCon changes every year. Previous places have been Denver and San Antonio. And so that's good too, because you might be a military spouse and not be able to travel very much, but hey, it might be coming to a city near you in the next year. So you can look at milmoneycon.com and find out more details there. And who would you say, like, who's the target audience for MilMoneyCon?
Anybody that has affiliation with the military or supports our community is a great person to attend, whether that's you're on active duty and you're thinking about becoming a financial planner, a financial coach, an educator after service, or you're a military spouse and coming into this career field, or you have retired and maybe have been in it a little bit and want to make more connections, grow your business, or go your career. So it's really like people that are just starting out and people that are seasoned, but with military affiliation. There's so many acronyms, you really do. I mean, it's hard. There was somebody this year that had no military affiliation, and I felt like he got mentored left and right on all the acronyms, and he was like really sped up by the end. So,
that would be hard for sure.
Yes.
I think the networking and the mentorship is such a powerful part of the conference. And I know that I've met a bunch of people through the conference as well, getting introduced to people from the Military Tax Advisors Alliance and MFAA, the Military Financial Advisors. Actually, just the other day in my TDY location, I went out to lunch with someone that's a financial planner. I was like, hey, have you been to MilMoneyCon yet? You should go. And they're like, no, but I know so-and-so that goes. So a lot of times the military financial planner coach podcasting network is kind of small, and it's the one conference that's kind of focused on military people, service members, the people that support them, like you said, and bring them all together to talk money with that military spouse, military service member, or supporting business flavor.
Yes, no, absolutely. I really want this community because there's so many people that are retiring or separating, and I don't feel like they should have to start at ground zero with a career in finance. That's a big thing for me. It's like we should help people up and over the wall. There should be a lot of mentorship. We should rule out some things for people like, just explaining what a day in the life looks like. Because if it sounds soul sucking to you, then this probably isn't the way to go. But if it's like, no, that lights me up, then this might be your jam. But connecting with people that can really lower the curve of coming into a new career field and help people make money quickly, I feel is so important because I just don't want people changing careers like 3 times. It's like you've already done enough. Like you don't have to keep sacrificing. This second go round should be a little bit easier.
One of the things you just mentioned earlier was PCS proofing your job. And I love that concept for military spouses. And since COVID, it's never been easier to pick up remote work and to work wherever you happen to be stationed around the world. What are some other, besides finances, what are some other opportunities where you see military spouses can really take advantage of the fact that, you can be pretty much anywhere now and work and earn some money?
I really think social media, that's something that can be done anytime, at night when you're sitting in the car rider line. So managing social media for people, whether that's engagement, whether that's posting. I also think marketing, in general, I know social media is a part of a marketing career, but being able to manage those things for small business owners to help them manage their time. And that's, again, like can do anytime, anywhere. I think that's a great one. And then also too, leveraging just your skill set. There's a lot of military spouses that are amazing at things like clothing. And so they can style people. You can actually just like take photos and be like, hey, this is what you should wear to your first interview. And you could sell that service online, or whether that's, organization. So I think there are some good ones that are more marketable, like social media marketing. But then there are things that you can lean into, things that you're good at. But bottom line, you have to do something people are willing to pay you for.
So from the advice perspective of someone that's interested in starting an entrepreneurial journey, maybe as a retiring service member, someone separating from the military or a military spouse, what are some common gotchas that you might coach someone through as they're looking at starting their entrepreneurial journey?
Yes. Number one is you are in sales. So a lot of people are really good at their craft or what they're good or hoping to do, and they don't realize starting a business, no matter what you do, you are in sales and marketing. You have to get yourself out there, and you have to get people to buy your widget or your service. And if you aren't prepared for that mentally, you're kind of already behind the curve starting, which I was. So I'm not passing judgment on anybody, but that is something I have definitely learned along the way is you have to get yourself out there and convey the value that you have. So why should somebody pick you over somebody else that does the same thing for you? Or why should they pick your tool or your soap or whatever it is that you're selling? Why should they buy that over somebody else's? So you really have to know what your value is and what sets you apart from other people. But no matter what it is, you have to be confident in that. So I always say, like in finance, like there's room for everybody, even if we're doing the exact same thing, because everybody is different. You resonate with people differently. Knowing that you're going into sales or marketing is really important. And then also to having something that people want to buy. So I mentioned that a moment ago, is that you can have a really great idea, but only you think it's a great idea, and it might be great, but that service or that thing could be purchased for free somewhere else. And so you really have to understand the market and if people are willing to pay you for that item. So I think those are the two big things: is get comfortable with selling, and then also make sure that people want to pay for it.
Making sure people want to pay for it is definitely one of those things where it's like, if people aren't asking for it, either directly to you or somewhere online, like you're on a Reddit forum or something, right? And people are like, man, if there was just this like product that solved this problem, or you notice that this problem keeps popping up in your community. And that could be, if you're stationed overseas, maybe there's something that people just can't get from back in the States. And maybe you're like, okay, maybe I should look into like, what would it cost to import that thing legally to the country and then set up a shop and start selling that thing online. I've lived overseas in a couple different countries, and there's always some product that I'm like, man, I want to start a company that import this product just because I want access to this product. And usually, right, if there's one customer, there's probably 10 and maybe 100 and maybe 1,000 out there. So I think that's one of the great opportunities with having a very digital and online world. Is there's tons of opportunity out there for military spouses to work remotely and to, they might start with a social media, managing a social media account for a small business, but they might quickly understand like how that small business works and then say, wait, they're making how much money doing this? Like I could do it so much better. And all of a sudden you get these, once you don't go down that path, you get all these ideas and you're like, okay, I'm comfortable starting my own business and trying to do this. And there's lots of success stories out there of military spouses who have seen a need in their community and started a business, whether it's, childcare, whether it's just some unaddressed desire or need out there. And if you fill that gap, people are usually willing to compensate you for it.
Oh yeah, you brought up a good point there. It is that what I have found is sometimes most successful is things that are missing. But you touched on it. It's just like, but I feel like our community is very observant. So that's where you really can have leverage, is noticing, like, especially if it comes to a service, you're like, this is something that would be very valuable to people and also to maybe a product. But if you notice that it's missing, you can fill that gap. And then if, like, for example, servicing small business owners is like, for me, like, I don't need another problem. All I need is solutions. So that's the way I see it. Is like, if you are a solution to my problem, like, I'm all in, I'm willing to invest money in that. But if you make more problems for me, then it's like, oh no, that is the opposite of the direction. So if you can find what's missing and really provide value and a solution, I think like you'll knock it out of the park.
Yeah.
And this is exactly where the mentorship and the network comes in that MilMoneyCon provides. What's the saying you have, Lacey, about rising tides?
Yes, rising tides lift all ships. But I really like, that's the saying, I think, in the military. I think more it's like rising tides lift all boats, but I don't know why I just like ships better. But but yeah, no, I just really feel like if, you can help lift one person up, like everybody gets lifted up. And again, like I feel like there's been so much sacrifice in our community. The service members taking an oath, and buy products, the military spouse is taking an oath, that, all these sacrifices that they're making. And it's like, we should make this part, there's so many things in the military community that need help, whether that's mental health, homelessness, just every area. But for me, it's like, if I can move the needle in my wheelhouse in finance so that we can help each other, it's just going to help everybody succeed.
Well, that's fantastic. If people are interested in MilMoneyCon, where can they find more information?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. MilMoneyCon.com is the best place. And I do all announcements on social media too. So it's just MilMoneyCon on all the social media platforms is another great place to connect.
Excellent. And any hint where 2026 is going to be?
No, not yet. I'm hoping it's going to be in the spring of 2026, but okay. I don't have it narrowed down just yet.
We'll look forward to that. And we'll push a announcement on our social media channels as well when that comes out, and service that you're offering to the military community. And, like you said, like if you can help a few military service members or military spouses or people who want to support the military with their financial coaching or financial planning or something connected to money, that can make a huge impact on the well-being of military families all over the world.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, it's really impressive, the speaker list sometimes too, because I've heard from, I think it was like an Undersecretary of Defense for like personal readiness, or I forget the big title, but it was like the person in charge of the FinRed products that we recommend a bunch, right? Is that am I getting that right?
Yes, the Director of Financial Readiness for the DoD, FinRed.
And then you'll have one person that's an Air Force veteran that's a divorce specialist, and we're hoping to have him on the podcast soon. And one person that's a tax expert, and one person that's a entrepreneurial expert, and one person that's military spouse tax, like the person to talk to about military. And it's everyone's there. So it's really great. And then Lacey, what about if someone wants to look up your podcast, your website? You want to give a quick shout out to those resources as well?
Oh, yes. So I have a podcast, The Milmo Show, that can be anywhere podcasts are found, or at milmo.co is my website. I'm also on LinkedIn, Lacey Langford, and social media for Milmo is It's Milmo.
Well, thanks again so much, Lacey. And we hope to have you back on the podcast soon.
No, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of the Military Money Manual podcast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. This helps others find the show, and we really appreciate it. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next episode.
The views and opinions presented here are those of the speakers and do not necessarily represent the views of the DoD or its components. Reference to any commercial products or services does not constitute DoD endorsement of those products or services.